Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Kmart, and I want to talk about some basketball. And we are talking about the Damian Lillard trade because there finally is a trade. It's real. It's actually happened. The trade got announced from time of recording about like 30, 40 minutes ago. In fact, strangely enough, I had just been in the process of recording and editing a video talking about whether any of the trades that or the rumored trades recently were actually going to happen. Obviously, this Lillard trade was going to be one of the trades that I was planning on talking about, and had to scrap all of that because the trade has actually happened. Damian Lillard is on the move, and he is headed to Milwaukee, of all teams, to join the Bucks, a team that was not in the conversation at really any point, I believe, in this whole Damian Lillard saga. So, yeah, so things got a little bit crazy there. Damian Lillard heads to Milwaukee. It's a 3-team deal overall between the Bucks, the Trailblazers, and the Suns. So there's a lot sort of going on here. I'll talk about what the trade looks like just right now. Obviously, I don't think everything's finalized, but in terms of what we got right now, the Bucks get Damian Lillard. The Trailblazers get Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Tomani Kamara, not sure which one, a first-round draft pick from the Bucks in 2029, and they get pick swaps in 2028 and 2030. And meanwhile, the Suns get Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. So, yeah. So first and foremost, the Bucks get Lillard. They immediately deal with the issue of, well, I guess it wasn't an issue. It kind of is if they're trading, of what they were doing with their current starting point guard in Drew Holiday. They ship him out. The draft picks are whatever at this point, right? 1 first-round pick, 2 first-round swaps. Doesn't really matter too much if you intend on using this Lillard trade to immediately contend for a championship, which obviously they do. So, yeah, the Holiday trade is unfortunate, but you're getting Lillard in exchange. That's pretty hard to see as anything other than an upgrade, unless maybe you're looking at it from a defensive angle, because Holiday, for the most part, does have a better defensive reputation than Lillard. But other than that, they're not giving up too much. They lose Holiday, they lose the picks. Some bench pieces, Grayson Allen in particular, is going to hurt them a little bit, but again, the return is Damian Lillard. They're going to be okay with that trade-off. So the Bucks get what they want. For the Trailblazers, this is where things get interesting because they moved quite a bit. Lillard is gone, his contract's gone, but Nurkic going as well frees up a lot of money. Obviously, they are bringing in some with Holiday and DeAndre Ayton, but I think there was a follow-up tweet from Adrian Wojnarowski that they were going to look to move Holiday. So that answers that question immediately, right? They're bringing in Drew Holiday in this trade, but they've already got some young guards, Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons, and now the Scoot Henderson draft picks, right? So they already had a lot of guards, so they're going to look to move Holiday somewhere else, and there should be some sort of market for him where they're going to be able to pick up a little bit more. So if you're the Trailblazers, this is an interesting choice. You're going to get some assets back from Holiday. You've got some draft picks coming in. You've got DeAndre Ayton, who, his reputation in Phoenix got a little, I don't really know how to even describe that. But how much of that was truly, Ayton not playing well or not having motivation versus the situation he found himself in? If you're the Trailblazers, I think you're willing to take a risk that Ayton does better in your system and with some younger guys on that roster as well. In the meantime, if you're the Suns, you have solved a pretty sizable issue here. You basically trade Ayton for Nurkic in terms of your presence down low, but Nurkic is reliable, pretty damn dependable, right? His numbers in Portland were always solid, maybe not always sort of all-star caliber, but you didn't see too many dips in his production. You add even more to your sort of bench depth here with guys like Grayson Allen and Keon Johnson, and even Nasir Little as well. So, their bench was a concern, and they shore it up in this trade. So, overall, it's a scenario where I think everybody comes out either equal to where they were or slightly or significantly ahead, right? I'm not going to say it's a win for all three teams, but given the situation that Lillard had to go somewhere, needed to be out of Portland, I think this is one that works pretty well, and it changes the dynamic entirely in that Eastern Conference. There was a lot of talk in the offseason about who sort of was the top team in the East. The Bucks had fallen in the playoffs to the Heat, but people talked about whether or not a healthy version of this Bucks team was going to be able to sort of reestablish control, right? Whether healthy Giannis, having Middleton and Lopez and Drew Holiday there, was going to make this team capable of following up on the expectations, right? Because they were still the number one seed in the East last season before the Heat ended up beating them. So a lot of people had that talk. Bucks, Heat, Boston, even the Celtics coming in with the Porzingis trade. But now, not only does this trade deny the Lillard to Miami scenario that people were sort of using to reinforce the Heat as that potential number one seed, the Bucks get him for themselves. So honestly speaking, I think this trade slams the door on that conversation. The Bucks have to be the favorite in the East no matter what at this point. And everyone else is kind of just playing for second place. Whether it actually plays out that way or not, who knows? But perception-wise, I think that has to be the takeaway here. So the Bucks swoop in out of nowhere effectively and make this trade happen. But yeah, talked about the Suns in particular. Again, they shore up their bench. I think Nurkic is going to work quite well in that system, especially given the other guys that they've got, Beal, Durant, and Booker. Nurkic has not always been a guy who's had plays called for him, and some Trailblazers fans sort of said that's sort of a detriment for the team, that they don't look to get him involved. But the Suns get a guy that they can just sort of plug in, who doesn't need a whole lot of attention, who doesn't necessarily need the ball in his hands all the time to have an impact with his rebounding and just the ability to sort of play decent defense and find his points on second chance opportunities. So they were already considered one of the better teams in the West. I don't really think this changes anything for them. In fact, it might make them a little better. And if you're the Trailblazers, you are blowing it up, right? You're going to focus on the young guys. You're looking at Sharp. You're looking at Simons. You're looking at Scoot Henderson. And this keeps that on track. It keeps the rebuild going, assuming that they do actually end up moving Holiday for something. Not sure what that return is going to be, but you've got a young core. You've got 3 young guards. You've got DeAndre Ayton coming in, who you're hoping can be sort of a guy who rebounds literally in terms of the stats, but also rebounds in terms of the trajectory of his career so far. And now really the only long-term money that you have locked down is the Jeremy Grant contract. So Portland is very flexible moving forward in terms of their finances. They've got young guys who they're hoping to develop into some sort of stable core for the future, and that's really all you can hope when you are starting a complete rebuild from scratch. So like I said, I think it works for everybody. The Trailblazers already weren't really considered to be much of a factor in the West. They will continue not to be, but that was kind of the point. So the Bucks get better. Well, on paper, right? There's a chance that this could all go sideways. The same thing that we talked about with Boston with the Porzingis trade. You gave up a lot of assets to make this happen, and there is still a non-0% chance that it all blows up in your face. But you like to stay positive in this scenario. And for the Bucks, they effectively plug in Lillard for Holiday, and on paper that makes them significantly better. But that's really all I had about this one. So this is kind of shorter than usual, but the news just broke, and as I said, I had just gotten through filming and editing an entirely different video that now is useless because of this news. But hey, I'm perfectly okay with that because it means that the Damian Lillard trade has finally happened. We can stop talking about whether it'll happen or not and now start talking about the actual basketball implications of the trade that has occurred or will occur. I don't know if this has been fully official yet. So I'm happy. If you're the Bucks and their fans, you're definitely happy. If you're the Trailblazers and their fans, you're probably also happy because this entire nightmare scenario is now over and you've got stuff to work with. And then if you're the Suns, I don't know. Suns fans, you might be a little bit divided here. I'm sure there were a lot of people in both corners of the DeAndre Ayton debate. So now that he's gone, some people will be happy, some people will be maybe a little bit disappointed, but you get Nurkic back. That's not a bad trade at all. So, yeah, that's what I've got. Everybody looks like they've gotten what they wanted out of this trade, and we get to stop analyzing everything Lillard says or does or streams or texts or tweets or whatever. So, everybody wins. But again, a nice trade to come through, and it's nice that it's finally happened. I'm gonna go now and edit this video and very sadly delete everything that I was working on already. But let me know what you think about the trade. Did anyone see the Bucks being the team to swoop in and make this happen? Do you believe this makes the Bucks now the odds-on favorite to win the East or maybe win the title outright? I think Denver still has something to say about that, but where do you think this now puts the Bucks? How do you grade this new Trailblazers core? How long do you think it's going to take them to maybe get back to contention, if you think they can at all? And you know, what do you think for the Suns here as well? Just kind of slipping in there and grabbing some assets for themselves. But please feel free to share your thoughts. Other than that, though, thank you all so much for watching, and I will talk to you later.